Hello there and welcome to Natalie's Lifestyle channel. Today I am talking about fear and how to start moving through our fears. So in this video you're going to learn why we have fears, why fears never go away, and then also how to analyze your fears so you can start moving forward with your life. Fear can be a very healthy thing. Fear actually keeps us safe. There's a reason why our brains interpret certain things as fear. If you think about it, fear is what protects us. There's a reason why when you walk to the edge of a cliff, you become afraid of falling off. Because if you weren't afraid, you'd probably walk right off and not really realize what happened until you were gone. So fears are very important. Back in the day, before we had the wonderful, amazing technologies that we have today, we were living out in the wilderness. And there needed to be a certain element of fear where we were always on the lookout for something that might attack us. Now, we don't have to worry about those kind of things today. Thank goodness. We live in a much safer world. But we still have this instinctual portion of our brain that interprets fear and is constantly on the lookout for things that could attack us or hurt us. Nowadays, we're still looking for those things, but the fear is a little bit different, and the fear can be chronic, and we can start to develop fears over things that are just everyday life, fears of moving forward with our life, and those are non-productive. So maybe there was a root of, of fear being productive at one point, but it no longer serves us. So now we want to start to shift our mindset to interpret fear in a different way. And keep in mind, everyone has fear, so you're not alone. We all experience fear on a daily basis. It's just a normal part of life. And as long as you're growing and you're expanding and you're moving forward into new uncharted territory, moving forward with your life, with your family, with your career, and all of those things, you're going to be experiencing new things. And as you're experiencing new things and stepping into new challenges of your life, there's going to be an element of fear, because there's always an element of fear in uncharted territory. There's an element of fear in the unknown. And if you're expanding and growing, you're constantly moving into new areas that are unknown. So you're going to have fears about stuff. So it's not about living a life with no fear at all. You're going to have it. We're going to experience it, especially if you're growing. But it's about learning how to reset your mind frame and start to move forward in and through that fear. Because everything you want is on the other side of fear. I guarantee it. You're looking for new things and new experiences and new wonderful stuff in your life. You're going to have to move through some uncharted territory. You're going to have to move into things that you've never experienced or done before. And that is going to have an element of fear in it. So it's learning how to step through it instead of ignoring it, or instead of thinking that, oh gosh, I can't do it because I've got fear. We've all got it, so let it go and start moving forward. The more you start to acknowledge your fears and question whether your fears are rational, you're going to start to shed some light on these issues. So instead of ignoring your fears and running away from your fears or pretending they're not there, just be with it. Start to look at it. And the more you focus on what your fear is in a rational, sensible way and to start to question it, the more you're going to shine the light on it. So some questions that you might want to start asking yourself is this fear coming from irrational thoughts? Is it thoughts running through your head that's causing you to become fearful about something? Or is it truly a gut instinct where there's no thoughts attached and it's this physical reaction of something just doesn't feel right? Because those are two very different reactions. When you're coming from irrational thoughts where your mind is just turning and turning of all the possible negative things, then that fear is coming from a logical place that might not actually be rational. If it's a guttural feeling, like a feeling that's coming from your heart and your intuition, stepping into a dark alley, those kind of feelings, well, that might be coming from a more intuitive place. And those fears are actually a little bit more rational. Those are the fears that you may want to be acknowledging and looking at. But if your thoughts are running away from you and you're thinking of all the potential bad outcomes, you might want to start asking yourself a few questions. Do you think you can't handle what's going on? That might be the root of one of your fears. You feel like, oh, I really want to move forward with my career and to move up in this company. But are you worried that you can't handle it? Is there a feeling of unworthiness attached to that? And then start to ask yourself, is that even rational? Most likely it's not. You're capable of doing anything you set your mind to. So why would you hold yourself back by thinking you can't handle something? You can handle any situation that life throws at you. Entirely possible. It's your choice. Your fear may be coming from a place of your ego. Do you feel like your fear is coming from an area that might be breaking down your ego? If you feel like you have a certain way you want to present yourself, a certain status, a certain energy of how you look at yourself, and by doing something new or shifting into a new area that you want to go into, are you afraid that you might not be good enough or that it's somehow going to break down your ego? Is there a big decision you have to make in your life? Big decisions are scary. We're moving into uncharted territory where we don't know what the outcome is going to be. Therefore, there is a chance that you might be fearful of a new big life change. Buying a house, getting married, having children, changing careers. There's a lot of big shifts, making a big move. These are very big decisions. And sometimes we start to let our mind run away with ourselves and we just think of all the potential negative things that can happen. And sometimes we get stuck in, well, I'm going to stay where I am because it's comfortable and I know what's coming, versus making that big life decision and moving forward into uncharted territory because we're afraid. And in reality, if you let go of some of those fears, you'll find that you actually enjoy moving forward more than you thought you would. And all the things that you were afraid of, you can totally handle it, and you can move forward and grow and mature and actually improve your life in the long run. Has something happened? Was there something that happened in the past that you're afraid that it's going to happen again in the future? Not every situation turns out with the exact same outcome. And perhaps you're afraid that life is going to repeat itself if you go and try the same thing again. But in reality, maybe you needed to learn the lesson the first time so that you didn't make that same mistake in that same situation a second time. So trying something once and being disappointed doesn't mean that by trying it a second time you're going to have the same disappointment. It may be better than you ever thought. So don't be afraid and start to question if it's really rational to be afraid of repeating something and assuming that the same outcome is going to happen again. Start to reframe your thought patterns. Notice what your patterns are as you start to question your fears, and then reframe your thoughts. What are the other positive possibilities instead of the negative thoughts that you've been thinking? Know that you can handle it. Get into your peak state. Start to build that confidence and know that no matter what life throws at you, you will be able to handle it. You are strong enough, you are smart enough, and you will always find the resources when you're in a positive state of being. And know that it's okay to make mistakes. No one gets it right all the time. And failure doesn't mean that you've done something completely wrong. Sometimes we mess up and we make mistakes, but it's just so we can learn and move forward and try it again without making that same mistake. So it's important that we learn from our experiences and allow ourselves to make mistakes so that we can grow and move forward. So the basics on dealing with your fear: be with your fear. Shine the light on it. Start to question it. What would it be like if the outcome wasn't a bad outcome? What would it look like? Be creative in seeing all the positive possibilities. Start to reframe your thoughts, and you can even do this by journaling. Journaling your thoughts, whether you're talking through them or writing it down, can really help, because journaling allows you to reflect back at a later time and see what you were actually thinking about. You may have a new perspective when you look back on your journaling days or weeks later. Start to reprogram your confidence with repetition or self-hypnosis. I've got a great video on subconscious reprogramming that allows you to start to change how you think on a very deep level so that you become more optimistic with confidence. And start to take action. It's so important to be moving forward with our lives. 90% of the things that we worry about never actually happen. So start focusing on the positive, because it's far more likely that everything will work out fine. You've got to take full responsibility for your life and realize that it's much easier to just move through the fear, and it's much more satisfying to doing that than it is to hold on to the fear and be in a state of feeling helpless. I hope this video gave you some great insights on understanding that we've all experienced fear. All we've got to start doing is reframe our thinking, and there's some tactics that I've given you that will allow you to start doing that, some actionable things. We've got to start to switch our mind frame to thinking of all the positive possible outcomes instead of being so pessimistic about life. You are so much more powerful than you think you are. You're smart, you are amazing, you are confident, and you can create anything you want in life. So start to believe in yourself and know that as we continue to grow and expand, we're always going to be up against new experiences, which might be fearful since we don't know how it's going to turn out. But as long as we keep moving forward and trust in the process, allow yourself to make mistakes and constantly reframe your thoughts for something more positive while still listening to your true intuition, you will really create the life of your dreams. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Please like this video, subscribe to my YouTube channel, and stay tuned for more similar videos on how you can start to empower your life, start to take control, and change yourself from the inside out.